Good morning again, everybody. I just want to leave you another message as well. Just want to tell you what I did recently. So, I I was the type of person as a kid to be very imaginary. I liked imaginary things. I liked books. I was very intelligent. I made sure I read every book you can think of as a young child. I had a aunt named I call her my aunt. She's my cousin, but she's my aunt Bonnie was my family was Slavic. We were our my ancestors' last name was Sanchez, so we were Slavic. So we were Jewish, and my grandfather Alfred Moll and my other great grandfather was his name was Bermudez, but they were cousins. But they came from Spain. They were both Spanish and Jewish, but they were Sephardic, and they had dealt with a lot of problems in the city a long, long time ago. So they were my great. They were my great. Let me repeat this. They were my great grandfathers. So Gladys was my mother's uh, name. Her name was Happy, so that was her nickname. So my mother Mabel had another relative called Marie. Marie was in the garment business. So she dealt with a lot of stuff in the garment business. She was in Spanish Harlem. She had a lot of relatives that were in Spanish Harlem. So she knew the Diaz family. She knew a lot of those families because we were all related in some way or another. We were cousins and we all loved each other. The reason I'm bringing this up is I did something that I needed to do, that I was told by Marie. She told me that around this time I had a dream, and usually, when anytime I have these dream states, I just go with it. So I took what I did was I'm going to explain this because this is very important. I took these candles. It was around this time. It's a holiday. It was around Christmas. I don't celebrate Christmas. I celebrate Hanukkah because Hanukkah is very, very important to me because I had two cousins that are in the Villanueva family that I respect the heck out of. That they said to me, always you have to respect Hanukkah because one time my cousin he was in a his car got stuck and some miracle happened. Two rabbis pushed him and got him up there, got him upstate because if he would have got stuck, he would have been dead. It was a bad snowstorm in the 80s. So what I was told was I was to light two candles. I took a bowl. Put the two candles together, and I prayed for both sides so that both sides would find peace. So I have this book that about to show you. I'm gonna hit you with the Psalms. So on this section of Psalms 27 of David, teach me your way, Lord. Lead me onto your straight path because of my oppressors. Okay, so I'm hitting you with this one, 27:11. There in life, as a Jew, as a Jewish person, when you take mitzvah, when you take catechism, even with the Muslim people, it's the same thing. When you learn about Sharia law, you're gonna hit a point in your life as a kid where you're gonna have to make a decision. You're gonna choose two sides. There's two sides in life. You're gonna choose the side of sin, where you go down that path and it's gonna lead down a dark path, or you're gonna choose the side of nobility. When I was a kid, I chose the side of nobility. It was a narrow path. I got picked on, I got teased. But let me tell you something. God is always watching. And not only is God watching, the creators are always there. They would not ever, if you ever feel like you're abandoned or you're upset, you make sure you go to the nearest church, the temple, the mosque. You make sure you get your holy Quran, your holy scriptures, and you take it and you sit there. Sometimes in life, you just got to sit down in the temple, in the church, in the mosque. You got to sit there and you got to pray. And you got to let God in, because all that pain that you have, a lot of people have trauma. I had it. You got to let it go. And as soon as you let it go, you're going to feel a lot better. Because this book right here, and I did a lot of stuff for the AmeriCorps. I did stuff for the military because of Wounded Warriors and Wreaths Across America. Because if it wasn't for Paul, who was in the fire department here, and my friend Ryan, who's in the Army, who I met in the Nassau Community College, I wouldn't be here right now. Because I took this book, I went to, they sent me into the city when this pandemic was going on. My mom doesn't know this. And they had me train. And I did something, I yelled. I demanded it. I said, these military people, these kids, they need the dogs, they need animals. And that's very, very important. Animals are very important. When you have a mental health condition, you need animals. And it's because of this guy. Because of people like this, because of a lot of these shows. Because many people, they make mistakes. They make mistakes. A lot of people make mistakes in life. They have to be redeemed. You can't send someone to jail and think that's just going to be the answer, because the rate of them going back over and over and over again, it ends badly. It's the rate of recidivism. Let me just get the correct pronunciation, because it's annoying. I'm half awake right now. It's the rate of repeating. The rate, pretty much, I'll just say, the rate of repeating going back into jail is bad. It ends badly. You can't have a situation where you have people who are with drugs or alcohol, or people who, some people have to stay in prison. That I understand. But some people, they're not meant to stay in prison. If you got hit with see, there was a comedian that got hit with a marijuana charge that I was in the public defender's office. And I had to go into court. And what I did that purposely by me saying that. And they said, well, why did you say it like that? The rate of them going back into court, it's dangerous. You want to purify the heart. You don't want to let the heart go back. You don't want to have a situation where people don't have books readily available. And sometimes, whether you're an attorney or you're a judge or whatever, the reason why I purposely said it like that, because a kid said it like that. There's a lot of people who have struggles with disabilities. I purposely did that for a reason. You got to have that rate of people going back into prison Very, very low right now. Because we're at a state where we need to have principles. And we have to have principalities on those principles. You can't have the rate of anything go high. So, as an example, I'm here right now. I'm in my little dormitory area. The rate of me going into prison is very, very low because I'm not going to do anything stupid. As soon as you go out of this house and I unlock and I start my car, the rate is going to go high. And that's what we're going to have to deal with when you go into a car. People don't understand what traffic and commerce is. It's not explained in school. People don't understand what a penal code is, or what officers are able to understand. People don't even understand this term. I was told at age 17, taking a security class, that police officers they're in the 13th grade. All right? When I heard this statement, I thought that was very, very insulting. But as you get older, you start understanding that there was a big difference between a police officer getting bullied and an attorney getting bullied. See, police officers, in my honest opinion, the reason why I'm bringing up this book, it's not a joke. I did that purposely because I saw that in court. I'm bringing up these books because a lot of the people, they take coffee, they put alcohol in it. There was a person, an attorney, that was doing that. They couldn't say rate of, and the judge would look at him and go, "Are you okay?" And the next indication was, I was in court, as an example. I was in court in Brooklyn. There's a criminal justice courthouse that's near the City University of Brooklyn. I was in court. My boss had me go into court to help a judge out. And this guy had alcohol in his system. He got in his car, drove. I don't know if he was sobered up or whatever. Got into the courthouse, couldn't pronounce anything. He was slurring words. He couldn't even say the rate of recidivism. He kept saying that all the time. I'm purposely doing this for a reason. And I was wondering why he was doing this. And then I went to the judge because I was doing studies on becoming a judge and becoming an attorney. I went to the judge and I said, "Judge, or Your Honor," I'll just make up a name. I'll make up a last name because I'm not going to give him his last name because that's wrong. I'll say Your Honor Smith, or Your Honor Smith, or Judge Smith. Why is this person slurring his words? And he's in court right now. And he thought about it for a minute, and he said, calls up the court officer, says, "We need to stop this person." So they stopped the person. Do you know his blood alcohol count, his rate where he was for DWI was very, very high? If he would have driven in that car, he had enough alcohol in his system to get into a very bad accident. There are a lot of cases where people do this stuff. They drink alcohol, or they're on drugs, and they're either in law enforcement or they're in some sort of federal government job. Even a simple pill, like a narcotic, you shouldn't be taking that stuff and be doing a job. A lot of you guys do that. The reason why I'm bringing certain things up, and it has to do with this person right here, is there's a person that this guy knows very well that's on a show about the rescuing pit bulls. And she was around a lot of those people that were around people who were just going back into prison, and she figured out a way of fixing certain things by setting up a non-for-profit. But the problem is, with a lot of cases, you have this new epidemic called fentanyl. Fentanyl it's an active medication that's in most of the it's researched. Well, it's researched, and not only is it researched, it's also in a lot of the hospitals and a lot of these places. So was the opioid pandemic. So Percocet, Vicodin, oxycodone, all those medicines they're narcotics. They're very high class levels. They're very dangerous. So when I was a lot younger, I started realizing a lot of these medications are very dangerous, and they're given to a lot of these people. And I think the DEA, and I think the FDA, and I think a lot of these organizations need to have regulations on this stuff. There needs to be, really, to this point, there needs to be a committee of citizens that are involved that oversee the medical board. And not only the medical board, they oversee the bar association besides that. Because we're at a point right now where the bar and the medical board are not doing their job. They're making a lot of mandates instead of letting doctors or nurses or lawyers or judges do their position. They're pointing a gun to their head, and they're saying to them, do this, this, and this. And that's where it's wrong. So I'm gonna use my cell phone a second. Okay. I'm just gonna show you this statistic because this is very important. So I don't want to see juvenile delinquents or the Justice Department or any of these people being affected. I learned about juvenile delinquency when I was in Nassau Community College, just as I got out of Alfred State. So what I'm getting to is that you have people that don't want to follow rules. And that's a double standard. You have people in our society right now. We're a capitalistic society. We're not socialism. So in 2008, we went from capitalism to socialism, and it's ending very badly. So our society is like this. It's like a rug. And by you guys opening up the border, giving money away, free money, you're not helping the military out, you're not helping the police out, you're just letting the country go to crap. You accuse a president of committing a crime he didn't commit. A judge and the district attorney's office might as well have committed perjury. They might as well have turned their backs against the United States Constitution. The reason I'm bringing up a lot of this stuff is the Justice Department. The Justice Department is responsible for a lot of this mishap. There's a committee that deals with the Justice Department in the Bureau, specifically with certain matters like statistics. So the reason I'm getting to this conclusion is I think that there are a lot of these people that have to deal with these municipalities or municipal jurisdictions, they have to have updates. So if I'm going to say something from the PBA's point of view, I'm going to keep it real. You as a police officer, when this election comes around, I'm going to do the very best I can to help Trump out as very best as I can. I'm still making these videos. I don't care if I go to prison or whatever. But you as police officers and the FDNY and all the people throughout the whole entire state, you need to understand something. You need to start writing letters to these congressmen and senators. You need to start not asking. You need to start demanding that this border gets closed. And if the border doesn't get closed, you're going to start saying certain things about schools. You're going to say certain things about certain jurisdictions. I'm going to give you these answers because most of you guys that are going into these schools, it's become very dangerous because you do not want an illegal immigrant coming into your building because a security person is not going to be able to fix that. And you're going to have a big problem with a lot of these hospitals with this new flu. And they're going to mandate you to get a vaccine or whatever. And I'm going to tell you the nicest way possible, don't ever get that vaccine because they're going to mandate it. They're going to say to get this vaccine, go back to wearing masks. They want to go, and I saw it in the government, they want to go 5 levels of you getting jabbed to where you become numb, you become a meathead person. And I'm telling you, any officer, any fireman, any military, if I ever see a video of you doing anything inappropriate, and when I get my licenses back, I am going to put you in prison. I do not want to ever see any inappropriate videos on Twitter, Facebook, or any of them. I saw a lot of inappropriate videos. And another thing too, I saw a video on this where you pushed a kid down and you injected him with that vaccine. And that is very dangerous. Any person that did that, in my position, if you ever did that, you wouldn't be alive in the military. See, there's things in the military called military police. Besides military police, there's a military attorney. I wasn't licensed in that field, but the AmeriCorps let me take that exam. I barely passed that exam. Barely passed means I passed that exam. If I ever saw any of you guys ever do that, where you push a kid down and you inject him with the vaccine, that's very dangerous. That's bullying. And I saw that in college as well. And don't ever do that again. And if I ever see that on a video again, I'm going to hit you with charges. My grandfather and many of the people in the Army and Navy Marines, they would not tolerate that nonsense. If you're required to give a vaccine, you have to go by Department of Health standards, OSHA, EPA, all of them. They have to have a policy and procedure to make sure that that vaccine is safe. This is why Johnson & Johnson used stem cells. And even Johnson & Johnson admitted this in the courts, that they were told to do this irregardless. They were told. They were mandated by a group of people that shouldn't have been running this country to begin with. And they're ignorant. And that's not what the Constitution is about. That's not what God's about. And you are breaking your own rules. And you guys should be hit with, a lot of you guys that are the cops and the firemen, you guys should be telling a lot of your sergeants and captains and even the people in the district attorney's office, hey, this kid is not playing games. I'm not the person to play games with. I'm very nice, but don't ever bully me. And a lot of the detective that handled my cases, I appreciate him very much. But don't ever play games with me. I am not the one to play games with. I just would appreciate One thing is for certain, if anyone ever comes into my house, I have a right to defend myself. And anyone in New York right now, if anyone comes into your house, you have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to carry. And that's very important. People should be able to use the Second Amendment. We are a Second Amendment state. If anyone comes in the house, you have a right to defend yourself, because if it comes to kids, because I have a niece and nephew, if anyone ever did, I would not hesitate to putting them down and doing a citizen's arrest. So I'm telling you guys the nicest way possible. Do not play games with me, and do not play games with a lot of the people I know. We are not the people to be playing games with. This is a warning. So thank you guys. Have a good day.